welcome to another episode of Author Fan Face Off. We've got one great author, one big fan. We pick a book by that author, and we're going to find out who knows it better. I'm Steve Sheinkin, and my co-host is, of course, the leaping librarian, Stacey Rattner. Welcome.
Yay!
And coming to us from Australia, it's Andy Griffiths. Thanks for joining us.
That's a pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, this is awesome. All right, so you think of this idea, the 13-story treehouse. It's one of those ideas that's so good, you're just laughing even just at the title. But did you know that right away? Did you start studying your 13 times tables because you knew there was going to be 26, 39, 52?
Not at all. Me and Terry, the illustrator, we're working on a completely other book. We'd done a little series here in Australia called The Bad Book and The Very Bad Book, and everything was very bad. And then we went away for a week down to a holiday house where we do a lot of our intensive writing periods. And I said, let's write the very, very bad book. And what have you got? And it had been 12 months since we'd done the last one. And he had nothing except for a picture of his finger. And I was like, oh, yeah. That's it, 12 months, and I said, I think we're done. We've run out of bad ideas. Well, let's write a book about not being able to write a book, and it'll be a bad book, and we'll waste the reader's time telling them why we can't write the book. And we'll be in it. And let's live in a really cool treehouse, and that can be part of the reason why we can't get the book done. And so Terry went and drew. I said, "You draw the treehouse, and I'll get working on the kind of narrative as such." And then he came back after just a couple of hours, and with this beautiful 13-story architecturally amazing treehouse. And I said, "Wow, that's a treehouse I would love to live in, and if it was real, and it's too good for this book. Like, this is a good treehouse. Let's call it the 13." And I counted them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Oh, nice.
It just happened to have 13 stories, and I said that's a memorable number. Let's call it the 13-story treehouse.
So cool. All right, and so that was in 2013. That first book.
Yeah.
And your challenger today has followed them all, I think. Stacey will do the introductions.
Yeah, I mean, I think Cameron, a fourth grader from California, was really glad that you guys came up with this idea and keep adding 13 stories, because he is, again, Author Fan Face Off was made for Cameron because he is a super, super fan of Andy Griffiths and this series. He, when he's not making comic books on his own or hanging out in his own little tree house or outside, he loves creating stuff and doing local theater, and he's amazing. So are you ready? We're going to jump right in.
Yep.
Okay. And so I'm going to ask Cameron, and then I'll ask Andy, and we'll go back. So Cameron, the first question is, in their secret underground lab, Terry uses a machine to make giant versions of this fruit.
Bananas.
You got it. Yep. Okay. And Andy and Terry have a machine that follows them around and shoots these treats into their mouths.
Oh, I think that would be the marshmallow machine.
Yum, 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 yum.
All right, Cameron, early in the story, Terry turns his neighbor Jill's pet into this.
A canary.
Yes. A canary, and that becomes very important in the story. We won't give any spoilers. And Andy,
I should I think you need to just adjudicate that answer a little bit. It's actually a catnary.
I thought about that, and I looked it back, and that's true. But the first time they refer to it, they do say canary, and then over time it becomes, hey, we could call it a catnary. So I was willing to accept either.
All right. Whatever Cameron says, that's probably the correct.
Terry thinks he's growing a sea monkey, but in fact grows this creature.
He grows, it appears to be a mermaid, which is actually a sea monster masquerading as a mermaid.
Correct.
Okay. Cameron, what is Terry's favorite TV show?
Barky the barking dog.
Correct.
Awesome. And this is for you, Andy.
Okay.
When Andy and Terry finally write their first story, it stars this unlikely hero.
It would be Superfinger.
I wasn't sure if I should go to one of our extra questions because you had said that earlier, but we're
Well, why don't we? Because he's obviously a super finger expert. So, didn't we have
Right,
one earlier?
okay.
Like, what was Superfinger's? Who is his favorite guitarist?
Yes, that I love that.
That would be Jimi Hendrix.
Yeah, he knew it.
Yeah.
And one of my favorite moments in the book is where Superfinger flies in to help Jimi Hendrix because Jimi do a
On the
guitar
guitar.
solo that requires 11 fingers. And here comes Superfinger to provide that extra bit.
You guys are good. We sort of expected you'd be experts.
I know.
All right, Cameron. One level of Andy and Terry's treehouse is a huge fish tank. What lives in the tank?
Man-eating sharks.
Yes. That doesn't come into the first story much, but it's kind of exciting to have that there.
Yeah.
And Andy, a small detail, but an important one. What happens to Barky the barking dog when he comes to visit the treehouse?
He gets stood on by a giant gorilla.
Yes.
He's been threatening our treehouse, and then he
I'm afraid
barks
so.
at it. Yes.
But he appears
Yes.
to survive. He appears to live.
He doesn't die, no.
That was good.
Had a few readers disturbed by that.
Yeah.
All right, Cameron. Who is Mr. Big Nose?
Andy and Terry's publisher.
Yep. And Andy, this is for you. Andy tells us that he and Terry mostly use their giant catapult for this purpose.
Oh, that's a tough one.
That's tough.
I think they initially used it for getting rid of rubbish out of the treehouse. They would fling their garbage all across the forest, which was very irresponsible. So that was their initial use. In the book, they use it to get rid of a bunch of monkeys who've overrun the treehouse. So, and sometimes Terry uses it to put Terry in while he's asleep and fling Terry out of the treehouse. That's three answers.
That's such a complete answer. I think we have to accept it. What do you think, Stacey? Because he does mention one other thing.
Getting rid of people that we don't want in the treehouse anymore
Right.
because visitors who overstay their welcome.
Yeah, that's got to be a full point. What do you think?
Yeah, so we'll give it to you.
And it's okay because we have bonus questions, tiebreakers.
I would say that's worth 4 points, actually.
Andy.
I don't know, Cameron. What do you think?
A little competitive.
Yeah, we don't agree. Yeah, all right. We have to just declare one to be the final answer, final question. Whoever gets it wins. I'm just going to pick one and go with it. Just raise your hand if you want it. We don't have, or go like this and I'll add a buzzer sound effect
Oh, there you go.
in post-production. All right. This is early in the story and it's only in one little picture. Andy and Terry zap this vegetable to make it disappear.
A Brussels sprout.
Brussels sprout.
Fan face up, you will know more. Off the fan face up, 24.
Can you give us any little hints about the 130th story treehouse?
I can. It's an intergalactic adventure, this one, where Andy, Terry, and Jill and the tree are kidnapped and abducted by a giant flying eyeball from outer space, from the planet Eyeballia, and they are taken to Eyeballia. I can't tell you any more than that.